A young man's world is turned upside down, his eyes wide with utter confusion. He just escaped his cursed high school life, believing he was finally free. Suddenly, he's thrust into another entrance ceremony, a scene that feels horribly familiar. The banner confirms it. He's somehow a new student at Cherry Blossom Academy. He glances around at the absurdly unique students, wondering if he's lost his mind. The realization hits him. This is the opening scene of a super popular VR game. He'd even studied the strategy guide for this exact moment, despite not owning the game yet. On stage, a stout man with an impressive mustache begins a passionate speech. The headmaster gives a roaring, fist-pumping welcome to the Academy's new students. Our hero can only stare back, completely and utterly dumbfounded. He recalls the game's lore, where dungeons mysteriously appeared around the 1930s. These strange phenomena were not just caves, but gateways to entirely different worlds. Cherry Blossom Academy itself was strategically built right on top of one of these portals. Originally a military institution, it was later repurposed into a school for training explorers. Our hero connects the dots, finally understanding the fundamental setting of this game world. The monsters within these dungeons drop magic stones and items of incredible value. This discovery of new resources completely reshaped the entire nation's power structure. Fierce global competition turned the academy into a brutal battlefield for influence. A student's power, gained from defeating monsters, is even displayed as a quantifiable level. Consequently, explorers who retrieve these dungeon items are treated as national heroes. High-level explorers are promised a life of immense wealth and public adoration. On stage, the student council president embodies this success, radiating charisma to the new students. But the headmaster's fiery speech is a grim reminder that this glory comes at a deadly price. Our hero knows this isn't an exaggeration. His trusty strategy guide spelled out the lethal stakes. In this world, dying inside a dungeon is just an accepted part of the job description. As this harsh reality sinks in, a familiar figure in the crowd catches his eye. He turns to see a girl with a warm, self-assured smile standing out from the rest. His mind races as he instantly recognizes her. Shinguji Ayano, one of the game's main heroines. He then recalls the Academy's brutal ranking system, with classes A through D sorting students by power. The elite students in classes A to C are veterans who have already leveled up in real dungeons. He finds himself in the dreaded Class D, the absolute bottom of the Academy's food chain. To add insult to injury, his seat is dead last, marking him as the weakest of the weak. Rummaging through his desk, his hand bumps against something unexpectedly familiar. He pulls out the very same strategy guide he'd studied so obsessively back home. His mind reels at the impossible sight of an item from his world appearing in the game. The realization dawns that his one-of-a-kind game guide has somehow followed him. A stern-looking teacher suddenly barks his name, snapping him out of his shock. He hastily responds to the roll call, still clutching the mysterious book. Staring down at the guide, he's lost in a daze, trying to process this bizarre twist. A nearby student notices his strange behavior, but sees only a blank, empty book in his hands. The guide reveals Takasugi Takashi, a destined loser with terrible stats. He laments his fate, wishing he could be the main character instead. He's horrified that the guide describes him as merely sympathetic after his demise. He vows to avoid the protagonist at all costs to escape his doomed fate. A glimmer of hope sparks, maybe he can change his destiny. He wonders if the strategy guide can help him become the strongest. A sly grin spreads across his face as a plan forms. The guide even details how to win over the Academy's many love interests. A teacher announces that each student will receive a device. Students marvel at the amazing stats displayed on their devices. Our hero grips his newly issued device, a rugged piece of Academy tech. He sits in a daze, completely overwhelmed by the chattering students around him. Nearby, a charismatic student confidently shows off his impressive stats to an amazed classmate. A sudden beep from his device confirms his suspicion. He's just spotted the game's actual protagonist. His own stats pop up, revealing the pathetic profile of Takasugi Takashi, Level 1 apprentice. He stares at the screen, utterly baffled by his assigned apprentice class. Despite seeing his stats, he has no clue how this system actually functions. He visualizes the game's mechanics, realizing skills and equipment are all managed in his mind. His concentration is shattered by an aggressive shout from right beside him. A towering delinquent with a mohawk looms over his desk, clearly picking a fight. He's left completely speechless by the sudden and aggressive confrontation. The mohawked bully sneers at his device, questioning how he even got admitted with such pathetic stats. In a flash, the delinquent snatches the device, loudly mocking the single-digit numbers he's never seen before. The bully, Furuta Masao, has stats in the 30s, a stark contrast to our hero's pitiful numbers. Furuta continues to express his disbelief at how unbelievably terrible the stats are. Our hero tries to rationalize it, thinking these are probably just normal stats for a non-protagonist. The bully decides to make a public spectacle, showing off the abysmal stats to the entire class. Our hero seethes with silent fury as he becomes the laughingstock of Class D. All his confidence drains away, leaving him clutching his strategy guide in utter defeat. His grand ambition of becoming the strongest crumbles into dust. A sudden thought strikes him, a spark of an idea in the midst of his despair. He realizes his current path only leads to him becoming disposable cannon fodder. Desperate for a solution, he turns to his one and only advantage, the strategy guide. A bold headline catches his eye, promising the ultimate shortcut to victory. His eyes scan the pages, absorbing a secret path to power that no one else knows. The guide details an overpowered build, a specific combination of gear and skills to break the game. A sinister grin spreads across his face as the gears of a new plan begin to turn. With this forbidden knowledge, his ambition reignites. He can become the strongest after all. His triumphant moment is cut short as a figure suddenly appears beside his desk. A hand extends, offering back the device the bully had snatched from him. He looks up to find a stunning girl with long dark hair holding out his device. His mind races trying to place her familiar yet somber face. A jolt of recognition hits him. It's Hanagasaki Reika. He remembers her from the game's ads, the fan-favorite love interest. Faced with the game's top idol, he can only stammer a flustered reply. His awkwardness seems to catch her completely off guard. Her gaze then drifts down to the device still in her hand. The horrifying truth dawns on him. She saw his pathetic stats. She gives him a stern warning about not losing such an important item. With that, she turns and walks away, leaving him utterly speechless at his desk. He's still reeling from his encounter with the legendary Hanagasaki Reika. His guide confirms her identity, the Ice Queen heiress and a top-tier magic specialist. Despite the humiliation, he's just happy to be in the same class as his idol. He reflects on her fame, known even to those who've never touched the game. His mood shifts as he contemplates the grim nature of this world. He's reminded of the game's brutal permadeath system, where even main characters aren't safe. Clutching his guide, he reaffirms his decision to use its forbidden knowledge. His resolve hardens into a fierce determination to become the strongest, no matter the cost. Following the guide's instructions, he arrives at a place called the Champion Crest Hall. Inside, he finds what appears to be a medical ward, a strange first step on his path to power. He learns that a champion crest is a special tattoo etched directly onto an explorer's body. The artist is an aloof-looking man with strange glasses and a very unimpressed expression. Our hero stands before this intimidating figure, who seems to be the one administering the crests. When asked where he wants the mark, the hero nervously requests a standard inconspicuous spot. The artist's cold gaze makes it clear this isn't a friendly consultation. With no other choice, our hero prepares himself for the painful-looking procedure. This magical tattoo is the key to unlocking immense power, a champion crest. The artist smugly reveals his own high status, being contracted to a top-tier guild. He then belittles our hero, making it clear he considers this a waste of his prestigious time. The guide explains this system allows explorers to gain unique spells through these intricate magical markings. The procedure is over, and he stares at the jagged lightning bolt crest now permanently etched onto his back. He's in awe, finally grasping the reality of this power-granting champion crest. Walking back to class, he can't help but question if letting that condescending artist handle the procedure was a good idea. He clutches his guide, realizing it never specified the artist, but trusts that obtaining the lightning eye crest is all that matters. With a slightly unhinged grin, he decides to just have faith in his plan and push forward. Back in the classroom, the Ice Queen Hanagasaki Reika is already surrounded by a crowd of admirers. Even Shinguji Ayano, a main heroine herself, looks up at Reika with pure, starstruck adoration. Meanwhile, other students are already forming alliances, studying up before their first dungeon crawl. The bully Furuta reappears, sneering that no one in their right mind would ever team up with a loser like him. A creepy teacher with a sinister grin then announces the moment of truth. The after-class dungeon dive is about to begin. The bully continues his taunts, but our hero simply ignores him, a new plan already in motion. With renewed determination, he decides to put his absolute faith in the strategy guide's instructions. His first secret mission takes him down a deserted school corridor, away from the prying eyes of his classmates. The guide leads him to an empty locker room, a place no one else would think to check. He cautiously confirms the coast is clear before proceeding with the guide's bizarre instructions. Following the book's directions to the letter, he opens a specific, seemingly random locker. Tucked away inside is a single 50-yen bill, the first piece of his secret puzzle. He realizes this isn't just pocket change. In this world, that bill is worth a small fortune. He wrestles with his conscience, feeling like a thief even though it's just a game mechanic. Shaking off his guilt, he follows a series of strange steps, using the money to prepare for his next move. He packs his bag, fully prepared to exploit the game's hidden mechanics. The 50-yen bill has been converted into a stash of essential starting items. With a beginner's staff in hand, he sets off with a fiery resolve to conquer the dungeon. The unassuming entrance to the dungeon sits on the school grounds, waiting for its next victim. Descending the stone steps, he's greeted by a massive, intimidating wooden door. Standing alone before the imposing gate, he takes a final moment to steel himself. Before entering, he consults his guide one last time to review the first day's secret strategy. The guide reveals a bizarre but essential exploit, repeatedly attacking himself with magic to raise a hidden resistance stat. He recalls that the lightning eye spell from his champion Crest is the perfect tool for this painful task. A confident smirk appears as he prepares to cast the first spell on himself, beginning his brutal power-leveling regimen. Okay, here's the next part of the story, ready to hook those viewers. He confirms no enemies are nearby before beginning his plan. He prepares to cast Bolt on himself, embracing the pain. The lightning spell erupts, striking the wall and him. He grits his teeth, enduring the shocking pain. He's surprised that the process actually worked. He checks his stats, observing the slow progress. He commits to grinding his secret stat immediately. He casts Bolt again, enduring the agonizing backlash. He struggles, trying to withstand the repeated shocks. He collapses to the ground, completely drained and smoking from the magical backlash. The sheer terror of his near-death experience washes over him as he gasps for air. Curled on the cold stone floor, he takes a moment to recover from the self-inflicted ordeal. The guide reminds him that Bolt also inflicts paralysis, a key detail for his resistance training. He sits alone in the vast empty chamber, contemplating the grueling path ahead. Doubts creep in as he questions whether he can truly endure this agonizing power-leveling method. But with grim resolve, he pushes himself up, ready to face the pain once more. He unleashes another Bolt spell, this time directing the full force onto his own leg. Gritting his teeth, he withstands the second jolt of electricity coursing through his body. His shoe smolders, but he notices the pain is already less intense than the first time. After just 5 minutes of agony, he's surprisingly back on his feet. He discovers his burn has vanished, a perk of the dungeon's natural healing properties. With renewed vigor, he zaps himself again, this time aiming for the chest. The powerful backlash sends him flying, crashing hard onto the stone floor. Lying there in pain, he worries this insane training might break his mind before his body. Desperate for a solution, he crawls back to his trusty strategy guide. The book reveals a key item, special rings that can reduce incoming damage. His quest for a ring takes him to the Academy's well-stocked tool storage. A friendly staff member hands over a package, a freebie for new students. Newly equipped, he returns to the desolate dungeon entrance with a grim look. He examines the slime ring, a basic piece of equipment meant to reduce damage. His attention is suddenly caught by a familiar sound down the corridor. He spots the game's protagonist and his entire party, already looking like seasoned adventurers. He quickly identifies the main character, the Ice Queen, and the cheerful heroine all grouped together. The ever-perceptive Hanagasaki Reika seems to sense his presence, glancing in his direction. Even Shinguji Ayano turns her head, her gaze locking onto the lone student. He freezes in place, completely flustered that the main heroine's actually noticed him. A wave of panic hits him as he realizes he's made eye contact with the most popular girls in school. He suddenly becomes self-conscious, remembering he's covered in soot from his self-inflicted training. Overwhelmed by social anxiety, he drops to the ground, accepting his status as a weird outcast. Despite his battered appearance, he sees this painful training as a golden opportunity. Back in the dungeon, he prepares to resume his agonizing power-leveling session. As he casts Bolt, the slime ring on his wrist glows, absorbing some of the impact. He sweats profusely, gritting his teeth through the reduced but still significant pain. To his amazement, the damage is far more tolerable now, reigniting his confidence. He begins a grueling 2-hour grind, repeatedly zapping his own leg with lightning. For hours, he endures the constant shocks, pushing his body to its absolute limit. He stumbles, exhausted, noting that a key defensive skill has yet to activate. Pushed to the brink of collapse, he falls to his hands and knees on the cold stone floor. A sudden alert flashes in his vision, signaling a breakthrough in his training. The alert confirms his agonizing training has finally unlocked a new skill. Before he can celebrate, his first real enemy appears, a single, unassuming slime. He stares in shock, recognizing the weakest monster in the entire game. But this slime launches itself forward with surprising speed and aggression. The creature slams into his side, the impact far stronger than he ever anticipated. He's knocked completely off balance, sent sprawling across the stone floor. The single blow leaves him breathless, clutching his side in agony. His device flashes a critical warning, revealing he's down to his very last hit point. He faces the seemingly weak monster, now a terrifying, life-threatening foe. With no other option, he crushes a small capsule, instantly materializing a dagger in his hand. Desperate, he chugs a life-saving potion he'd prepared earlier. The potion works instantly, bringing him back to full health. He thanks his guide's author for the tip that just saved his life. Back on his feet, he cautiously scans the empty dungeon chamber. With the immediate threat gone, he resumes his brutal magic resistance training. He spends the rest of the night grinding, dodging the occasional weak monster. After his grueling session, he finally heads back to the student dorms. Covered in grime, he stumbles into the building, completely exhausted. He enters the dorm's common room where other students are already gathered. His attention is immediately drawn to a formidable-looking girl with a massive weapon. The girl, Ijuin Kyuko, is on a screen, effortlessly battling a massive monster with her guild. Onlookers are stunned by her night class abilities, watching her tank powerful hits like they're nothing. The other students are completely captivated by the broadcast, praising Kyuko's legendary guild. Our hero watches from the sidelines, overhearing their admiration for the powerful upperclassmen. Still covered in soot, he can only stare, the gap in their power levels painfully obvious. Later that night, he lies alone in his Spartan dorm room, contemplating his future. He wonders if his brutal training will ever let him reach the same heights as the heroes on screen. His thoughts drift to his isolation, realizing his pathetic stats are making everyone avoid him. The silence of his room amplifies his growing sense of loneliness and dread. A terrifying new possibility hits him. At this rate, he won't just be a loser, he'll be expelled. The next day, Class D gathers before the dungeon entrance for their first official lesson. Despite his fear of expulsion, our hero tries to project confidence, trusting his guide has prepared him. Their instructor confirms their fears. Today's lesson is a mandatory, real-life dungeon dive. A nagging thought bothers him. The guide's date for the entrance ceremony was off by a full day. He clutches the book, desperately hoping this small error doesn't mean his only advantage is unreliable. The terrifying possibility emerges that this world might deviate from the game he studied. The instructor leads the nervous students down the stone steps into the dungeon's maw. He gives them a deceptively simple mission: reach the second floor and return alive. The hero recalls the guide's strategy for this moment. Survival lies in sticking with the group. He resolves to blend in with his classmates, hoping to use them as a shield to get through the trial. He glances at the main characters, noting their impressive levels are already leagues ahead of everyone else. He realizes that even in the bottom-tier class, nearly every student has reached at least level 3. His bully, Furuta, suddenly grabs him, loudly expressing disbelief that our hero is still stuck at level 1. The hero flinches, utterly fed up with this relentless torment from the Mohawk delinquent. Just as the harassment continues, a calm voice cuts in from the side, drawing their attention. Furuta mocks him for not even being able to defeat a single slime, ignoring his frantic excuses. The game's protagonist, Ichiju Kazuma, steps in and casually offers to help him level up. Our hero is completely stunned to be face-to-face with the actual main character of the game. He feels a wave of despair, knowing his own abilities are nothing compared to the protagonist's. The guide's description flashes in his mind. Ichiju Kazuma is the perfect hero, blessed with looks, power, and rare magic. Terrified of altering his fate, our hero awkwardly rejects the protagonist's offer of help. The protagonist calmly accepts his refusal, but leaves the door open for future assistance. Ayano chimes in, explaining that strengthening the weakest link is crucial for an upcoming class exam. With the offer made, the protagonist's party turns and walks away, leaving him to his own devices. The bully Furuta gets in his face, completely baffled that he'd turned down help from the strongest students. Another party member, Kazuma Yuji, gives a final offer of help before they head into the dungeon. Our hero ignores them, his mind set on one thing. He must follow the strategy guide's instructions. He watches them disappear into the dungeon, wishing they would all just leave him alone. He internally scoffs at the bully for suddenly acting friendly the moment the protagonist showed up. As the school bell rings, he bolts down the empty hallway, ditching the class to follow his own secret mission. With school out of the way, he's fired up to resume grinding his hidden skills. He returns to the desolate dungeon, ready to continue his unorthodox training solo. With a shout, he prepares to cast his signature bolt spell once more. He unleashes the lightning, but this time he's not aiming at himself. The spell explodes harmlessly as he sidesteps the blast with impossible speed. He celebrates his perfect dodge, realizing his brutal training has unlocked a new ability. His victory is short-lived as an angry slime monster suddenly lunges to attack. He easily evades the creature, feeling his evasion skill rise with the successful dodge. The slime fires a liquid bullet, forcing him to lean back and narrowly avoid the hit. His foe flies past, completely bewildered that its attack missed its seemingly weak target. Before he can react, a massive shard of ice rockets past him, aimed directly at the slime. He's thrilled to discover his evasion training also boosted his physical dodge skill. The powerful ice projectile skewers the slime mid-air, stopping it dead in its tracks. His tiny foe splatters into a harmless puddle on the dungeon floor. He whips around, startled and annoyed that someone interrupted his solo training session. A figure steps out from the shadows of the dungeon corridor, revealing his rescuer. He's completely floored to see the Ice Queen Hanagasaki Reika standing before him. She looks at him with genuine concern, checking to see if he's been injured. His mind races with the humiliating rumors that will now spread about him needing help against the weakest monster. He forces a smile and awkwardly thanks her, trying to salvage what's left of his dignity. The Ice Queen offers her help, looking genuinely concerned for the struggling student. He remembers his guide's warnings, fearing that any interference with the main story could lead to disaster. His survival instincts scream at him to avoid the main cast at all costs. With a jolt of panic, he resolves to end this conversation immediately. He curtly dismisses her offer, turning away to create some distance. Unfazed, Reika explains she was simply investigating the strange noises he was making. He tells her to leave him alone, continuing to walk away from the powerful heroine. She watches him retreat down the empty corridor, a thoughtful expression on her face. Just as he thinks he's escaped, she suddenly asks if he's managed to level up yet. Mortified, he sweats profusely as he's forced to admit he's still stuck at level 1. Reika questions why he doesn't just get help if he's having such a hard time leveling up. He awkwardly denies struggling, insisting he can handle the monsters just fine by himself. Internally, he realizes he's coming off as stubborn, but feels he must cut this interaction short. The Ice Queen accepts his flimsy excuse and begins to walk away. He watches her leave, wondering why a top student is exploring this low-level area alone. As she disappears down the corridor, he's finally left to his solitary training. His mind shifts back to the strategy guide's plan, which calls for a high-risk, full-offense build. This brutal fighting style requires him to take the full force of every enemy attack without dodging. His entire strategy hinges on constantly chugging potions to heal and keep fighting. He recalls the guide's advice to ignore armor and pour all his resources into weapons and potions. He admits to himself that he's not exactly thrilled about the idea of getting constantly injured. The hero visualizes the grim reality of taking damage, from concussions to a very permanent game over. Realizing death is on the line, he abruptly changes his plan and decides to go shopping for gear. His new mission takes him straight to the entrance of the Academy's massive school store. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as he contemplates the high stakes of his next move. Inside, he's greeted by a vast selection of adventuring attire and intimidating battle masks. The store is packed with everything an explorer could need, from stylish outfits to practical armor. He's completely blown away by the incredible variety of equipment on display. His eyes land on a mannequin sporting a sleek, modern combat outfit complete with a sword. He examines the fine details of the gear, from the tactical gloves to the reinforced jacket. His eyes sparkle with childlike wonder at the high-end equipment. A sudden wave of desire hits him. He decides he must have the entire set. He analyzes the gear's stats, noting its impressive defense and fire resistance. The hero justifies the expensive purchase as a necessary investment for dungeon survival. Leaving the store with his new prize, he finds his wallet completely empty once again. Back in the dungeon, he suits up in his new combat attire, ready for action. He immediately puts the new armor to the test, bracing for a self-inflicted attack. The gear glows as it absorbs the impact of a powerful blast, protecting him from harm. Wiping away sweat, he grins, thrilled that his expensive gamble paid off. He consults his guide, recalling how his 15 hours of evasion training influenced this new strategy. He recalls the guide's ultimate goal, reaching 100 skill points for total magic immunity. The next day in class, however, his secret training is about to be exposed. His instructor furiously points out that he's still stuck at the pathetic level 1. Our hero just smirks, completely unfazed by the public call-out. The teacher warns him that staying at such a low level is a literal death sentence in this academy. He awkwardly tries to brush off the teacher's concern, claiming it's his own problem. But the instructor reveals a crucial rule. The school is liable for any student deaths below level 5. The teacher passionately declares he won't stand by and watch a student walk into their own demise. To make a point, the instructor decides to check the class rankings for the strongest student. Unsurprisingly, he calls out Hanagasaki Reika, the undisputed top student of Class D. The instructor tasks Reika with a new mission: get the hero to level 3 by Monday. The Ice Queen looks surprised, but dutifully accepts her new responsibility. The entire class erupts into a frenzy of shocked whispers and gossip. Our hero seethes in the background, feeling like he's the real victim in this situation. The mohawked bully fumes with jealousy, unable to believe the loser is paired with the school idol. Panic sets in as he realizes this forced partnership will ruin his secret training schedule. After class, he ignores the teacher's orders and heads straight for the dungeon entrance. A message from Reika pops up on his device, instructing him to wait for her. Standing alone in the dungeon, he lets out a heavy sigh, clearly annoyed by the situation. He glances at his device, admitting he blew her off to come here, but now feels the weight of his decision. His solo session is interrupted by Reika, who questions why he's trying to avoid her. The Ice Queen presses him, asking if he has a personal issue with her. He stammers out a weak excuse, claiming he just wants to train at his own pace. His flimsy explanation is met with a moment of thoughtful silence from Reika. She then shatters his composure, telling him there's no point in hiding his activities from her. Reika reveals she's fully aware of what he's been doing alone in the dungeon. He's thrown into a panic, believing his secret stat grinding has somehow been exposed. He quickly realizes she can only see his strange actions, not the hidden stats he's raising. She gives him an ultimatum: keep electrocuting himself or let her help him with some basic leveling. He grapples with the offer, knowing his secret plan prevents him from leveling up just yet. He begins to explain his bizarre training method to the Ice Queen. Reika looks genuinely perplexed, asking for the reason behind his self-destructive behavior. He admits his actions seem crazy, but insists they're a necessary part of a bigger plan. With a burst of conviction, he declares his ultimate goal is to become the strongest. The Ice Queen is taken aback, silently repeating his ambitious words. He doubles down on his statement, his eyes burning with newfound resolve. Reika stares at him for a long moment, her expression shifting from confusion to contemplation. To his surprise, she breaks the tension with a small, knowing smile. The hero flinches, bracing himself for the mockery he expects to follow. Instead of ridicule, Reika acknowledges his grand ambition, but warns him of the difficult path ahead. He tries to justify his reckless behavior by insisting this is all just a game. His bizarre explanation leaves the Ice Queen completely baffled. Reika warns him that his stubbornness is now putting her own reputation at risk. They stand apart in the empty dungeon, a clear gap in their understanding of the situation. He points out that she might regret accepting the task of training him so quickly. Realizing she can't force him, Reika decides to offer a compromise instead. She presents him with a valuable-looking necklace, offering it as a loan. The item is a special accessory designed to restore a user's magical energy. Reika proposes a deal. She'll heal his injuries if he uses the necklace to speed up his training. Our hero is left speechless, completely blindsided by her unexpected and generous offer. He internally celebrates this incredible offer, realizing it's the perfect solution to his agonizing recovery times. Despite his shock, he manages to stammer out an agreement to her unexpected proposal. Reika lays out her condition. Once his bizarre training is done, he must let her level him up properly. He grows suspicious, questioning the Ice Queen's true motive for helping him. A wave of paranoia hits him as he wonders if she's somehow discovered his secret strategy guide. Shaking off his doubts, he focuses on the mutual benefit, his freedom and her reputation both preserved. With his mind made up, he formally accepts her deal and takes the powerful magic-restoring necklace. Wasting no time, he immediately resumes his training, preparing to cast another lightning spell. The cold stone walls of the dungeon bear silent witness to the brutal session about to unfold. He endures the familiar agony as his own spell slams into him, the training now officially underway. As he endures the pain, Reika extends her hand, casting a powerful healing spell. Their new system is flawless. Her magic restores his health while the necklace refills his energy. He's stunned by the speed of his recovery, feeling the healing magic work instantly. With Reika's support, he continues the brutal cycle of self-inflicted damage and immediate recovery. He realizes that the powerful mage also has a rare healing crest, making her even more versatile. Overcome with curiosity, he boldly asks if she would be willing to show him her crest. The Ice Queen is immediately put off by his strange and personal request. Her annoyance quickly melts into a flustered blush, caught completely off guard. After a moment of internal debate, she seems to reluctantly agree to his odd demand. She immediately reconsiders, chiding him that such a request is far too intimate for classmates. To his shock, she reveals an intricate crest on her lower back, leaving him completely flustered. He instantly identifies it as a rare third-generation crest, a clear mark of her noble lineage. His deep knowledge surprises her, as she explains the crest's design was a well-kept secret. The Ice Queen questions his true intentions, wondering if he's just trying to show off. Annoyed by her suspicion, he dismisses her question, noting her own unshakable confidence. Reika flips the script, demanding to know what crest the self-proclaimed strongest plans to acquire. She leans in with a challenging gaze, genuinely curious about his ambitious strategy. The Ice Queen then points out a critical flaw in his plan. Only 3 generations of healing crests exist. Our hero smirks, boldly declaring he'll obtain a 4th-generation crest, one that's supposedly impossible. He privately acknowledges she's right by current standards, but his guide holds the secret to breaking that rule. Reika acknowledges his secret, but insists they get back to his bolts. She declares the rest of his plan is a secret, cutting off further explanation. Reika's eye twitches, hinting at her growing impatience. She offers to assist with casting Bolt, a thinly veiled threat. Reika points out he has plenty of free time and should be leveling up. He nervously declines her offer, desperate to avoid the main storyline. Reika boasts about her high level, making it hard to find party members. He's left speechless, unsure how to respond to her unexpected confession. Despite her initial coldness, Reika seemed surprisingly approachable. For 3 days, they continued grinding, pushing his hidden skills late into the night. His magic resistance, which had stalled for 2 days, was finally making progress. On the 3rd day of their intense training, his hidden skill began to skyrocket. Reika could only watch in confusion, completely unaware of his secret stat growth. He had created a perfect feedback loop where successful dodges fueled even greater evasion skills. Feeling ambitious, he decided to hunt slimes to raise his physical resistance as well. The duo finds themselves surrounded by a horde of the weakest dungeon monsters. An angry slime launches itself forward, aiming a surprisingly aggressive attack. Instead of dodging, our hero braces himself and takes the full force of the impact. The defeated monster dissolves, dropping a magic stone and a strange octopus-like item. The Ice Queen is left utterly baffled by his bizarre and reckless training methods. He panics, realizing his health is dangerously low after taking just 1 hit. Before he can react, a massive ice spell erupts, wiping out the entire slime horde. The Ice Queen effortlessly unleashes her power, clearing the room in a single devastating blast. Reika catches her breath, examining the strange tentacled item dropped by a slime. Her moment of calm shatters as she spots a new, far more dangerous threat emerge. Oblivious, our hero walks towards a colossal shadow looming in the darkness ahead. He turns back, completely baffled by the look of sheer terror on her face. With a look of fierce determination, Reika lunges forward to intercept the danger. She shoves him out of the way, bracing herself as a gigantic slime slams into her. The immense force of the blow sends both students flying across the dungeon floor. He catches the Ice Queen, both of them reeling from the unexpected tackle. They look up to see a colossal slime monster, the dungeon's hidden boss, looming over them. A wave of terror washes over them as they stare down this impossibly large foe. The giant slime advances, its massive form dwarfing the 2 students on the dungeon floor. Reika suddenly realizes his true goal, accusing him of intentionally avoiding leveling up. He's left completely speechless, shocked that she figured out his secret plan. Despite her injuries, the Ice Queen stands protectively in front of him, ready to face the boss alone. She unleashes a devastating volley of ice magic, firing a barrage of sharp projectiles at the monster. Her powerful spell finds its mark, riddling the giant slime's body with magical ice shards. The colossal monster dissolves into a puddle, leaving the duo standing victorious in the now empty corridor. With Reika watching, he prepares to demonstrate the results of their grueling training. He unleashes a powerful bolt spell directly onto himself, but the magic seems to shatter on impact. Steam rises from his jacket, but he stands completely unfazed by the direct magical hit. A look of pure astonishment crosses his face as he processes the lack of pain. He realizes his resistance is so high that the spell barely hurt, a sign his training is a massive success. The Ice Queen can only stare in disbelief, unable to comprehend what she just saw. He finally reveals his secret. He's been grinding a hidden magic resistance stat, a feat only possible at low magic levels. With a wild grin, he declares that he can now completely nullify magical attacks. Reika's mind reels, her understanding of the world's mechanics completely shattered by his claim. She looks at him with a mix of awe and confusion, realizing the loser she was tasked to train is hiding an incredible secret. He awkwardly tries to brush off his discovery, begging her to keep his game-breaking secret. Reika panics, warning him that possessing such forbidden knowledge is a death sentence. She stares in disbelief, realizing his exploit is a state-level secret and questioning his true identity. He casually explains that his bizarre training methods should all make sense to her now. Internally, he chides himself for being careless and scaring her, vowing to guard his secrets more closely. The Ice Queen laments that her high level means it's already too late for her to use the same trick. He confidently explains an alternate method for her, detailing how mages can still grind physical resistance against slimes. Reika is left speechless and visibly moved by his unexpected and insightful advice. As night falls over the academy, their intense training session finally comes to an end. The two walk back to the dorms together, a silent understanding now formed between them. He bids the Ice Queen farewell, looking worn out but accomplished after their session. Reika offers a short, simple reply, her expression unreadable. He correctly deduces that she was watching over him out of genuine concern. She scoffs at his assumption, turning away and claiming he's ruined her mood. But a deep blush and flustered expression betray her true feelings of worry. The two part ways, standing on opposite sides of the street with a new dynamic between them. He reflects on his progress, revealing he's finally reached level 3 and learned a new skill. Our hero initially suspected she was just investigating his abysmal stats to uncover his secrets, but now he realizes the top student was genuinely worried about the weakest kid in class. With his new level and skills, he makes a bold decision. It's time to change his class to Bishop. He sets his next goal, reach level 5 and unlock his first class change. The next day at the academy, a new challenge awaits the students. Their instructor announces a mandatory field training exercise, a quota-based magic stone hunt. As students form 3-person parties, our hero is completely ostracized and left alone. A voice from behind remarks on his hopeless situation, adding to his isolation. To his surprise, a group of girls, including the Ice Queen, offers him a spot in their party. The Ice Queen seems hesitant, questioning the cheerful heroine's sudden invitation. He's completely stunned as he recognizes Shinguji Ayano, another main heroine from the game. Ayano cheerfully admits she'd be too intimidated to party with just the Ice Queen alone. His bewildered reaction earns him a playful jab from Ayano and an annoyed glare from Reika. Reika is genuinely confused by Ayano's fear, questioning her own intimidating presence. Our hero internally agrees, recalling her infamous Ice Queen reputation and deadly gaze. Ayano quickly tries to smooth things over, changing the subject to keep the peace. She enthusiastically declares the three of them an official party, much to our hero's confusion. He's left completely bewildered, now stuck adventuring with two of the game's most popular girls. With his fate sealed, he takes a moment to mentally review his current stats. His stats have finally broken out of the single digits, a small but welcome sign of progress. The unlikely trio wastes no time and immediately heads down into the dungeon. They easily navigate the first level, arriving on the vast and empty second floor. Reika's sharp senses suddenly kick in, detecting an unseen presence in the chamber. Reika immediately takes charge, ordering the hero to the back of the formation due to his weakness. Their first opponent reveals itself, a snarling, battle-ready goblin. Ayano can't help but playfully mock him for being put in his place by the Ice Queen. She quickly agrees with Reika, both heroines preparing to handle the threat themselves. Our hero seethes, annoyed that they're underestimating the brand new weapon he just bought. With a flourish, he unsheathes a sleek new katana from his back. He brandishes the ninja blade, a starter weapon that gives him a decent damage boost. Ayano questions his skill, but he confidently claims he can master the blade in no time. Ignoring their warnings, he boldly declares his intention to take the front line himself. But Ayano swiftly moves to block his path, planting her spear firmly in his way. Ayano gives a playful wink, her spear glowing as she prepares to show him how it's done. She unleashes a powerful spinning technique, creating a whirlwind of energy around her. With incredible speed, she lunges towards the goblin, her spear poised for a decisive strike. The spear connects with a devastating impact, completely overwhelming the monster in a single blow. Our hero and even Reika are left completely speechless by her display of overwhelming power. He remembers the guide's lore, connecting her to the Shinguji family's famous spearmanship dojo. It all clicks into place. Her immense strength is the result of a lifetime of rigorous training. The guide also reveals her family's dojo caters to militant guilds, who are essentially outlaws. He realizes the cheerful heroine's connections make her potentially more dangerous than any noble. Ayano turns back with a victorious grin, cheerfully informing him that he won't get a chance to fight. Before he can celebrate, a new fish-like monster materializes right behind him. Reika screams a frantic warning, her eyes wide with terror. The creature lunges forward with blinding speed, catching our hero completely off guard. His heart pounds in his chest as he instinctively dodges the monster's powerful strike. He lands gracefully, gripping his new katana with a newfound steely resolve. The monster roars, baring its razor-sharp teeth for a second, more vicious assault. Our hero meets the attack head-on, his blade clashing against the creature's tough hide. With a look of pure focus, he pushes back, his sword digging into the monster's arm. But the creature's raw power sends him stumbling back, a sharp pain shooting through his side. Undeterred, he uses the momentum to leap onto the monster's back, ready to deliver the final strike. With a look of intense concentration, he prepares to end the fight. He plunges his blade deep into the monster's neck, delivering a decisive final blow. Both Ayano and Reika stare in utter disbelief at his sudden display of skill. Ayano chides him for being reckless, but he's already catching his breath from the exertion. He reflects on the battle, finally grasping the unique rhythm of combat in this world. Ayano's brief moment of reflection is shattered as she senses a new approaching danger. Their small victory is cut short as a massive horde of monsters suddenly surrounds the party. A cold sweat breaks out on his face as he realizes they are hopelessly outnumbered.